I was driving home yesterday, and the 5 was horrible. And I was like, man, there must be like, you know, a wreck taking up 3 lanes of traffic. Everybody's having to squeeze through one.
Probably, yeah.
Ridiculous.
What was it?
Got up there, and everything that had happened was off to the side. It was a ridiculous wreck, don't get me wrong.
But everybody's watching it.
Everybody, I'm telling you, the difference between, like, if this is the line, the difference between the cars, the traffic up to here, and then everybody was like, cool, and then it was like almost an empty road.
It's like a standstill.
Right.
And then it's like people departing from a red light.
Right, exactly. I seriously think if people would just go, okay, up here, this is going to be crazy and in person. But all I really got to do is go home and Google really bad car wreck.
Yeah.
You'll see something ridiculous.
You can watch a whole chase where there's multiple car wrecks.
Right.
People running off the road and stuff.
Right.
You can watch it until you end up at Denny's fights.
There you go, dude. Denny's fights is good YouTube.
Yeah.
Turn this off and go watch some Denny's fights. In response.
Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
Our channel got demonetized.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Jake.
Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic.
Hey!
This week, no news. Kind of a boring week. Not a lot going on.
There was a great tournament where the top 8 decks were 1 blue-white control deck and 7 Temur energy decks.
Oh, nice. They should do something like ban it, which they did. It was not a slow week. In fact, this week has been kind of crazy.
I've been following a lot of Temur energy players, and I wait for them to find like a corner, like they're at a Panera and they're just having some soup.
Yeah.
And then they start crying. And what I do is I hide under the table and I catch their tears in a little in a tablespoon
with a tiny sponge on it.
No, a little tablespoon, and then I eat it. I drink their salty tears.
So Temur Energy was banned. They fired their Doom Cannon.
It wasn't like banned, but it was just like, we're removing the balls from this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna snip them. You're not gonna make any kids. Temur Energy.
You get no Rogue Refiner card that nets you 2 energy, replaces itself, has 3 power on top of it being a 3/3. Is just like.
But there was collateral damage, just like in Rogue One. We got the Death Star plans off of Scarif, but
at the cost.
At the cost of Ramanop Red also getting its ankles chopped right out from under it.
Well, Ramanop Red actually presented a challenge for Temur Energy. It was one of those decks that appeared that was actually fast enough and able enough to compete against the deck regularly. And I think Wizards had a little bit of foresight here. They were like, look, if we're going to
They showed some data. They were very kind of, transparent about the entire issue.
Yeah, they were like, if we're going to get rid of Temur Energy, then we could probably expect this other powerhouse to just step right into its place.
Right.
Which it may have done. I think Rampaging Ferocidon, that's like... It really sucks because this card literally just came out.
Yeah, and it's a cool card. It would have fit nicely into any kind of dinosaur tribal decks.
There's a lot of life gain that's going to be in the format.
Yeah. If vampires become a thing, life gain is definitely going to be in the format. That is our little recap on the bannings this week. Later in the episode, I have to go, unfortunately, but Jake is going to...
we have a special guest that's going to be joining us later on in the episode, which we are both very excited about. Joel has to get out of here.
Very excited.
I will be interviewing a pro in the...
pro player, kind of getting his take on what the banning means.
We live out in LA, and we, there's a lot of different people that, we get to meet and stuff. Right. And so this person's going to be joining us, and we'll get into that later.
Before that, we are going to kind of talk through the state of Standard now. There's going to be a lot of fallout from this. We're going to kind of talk about some of our favorite stuff that could be popping up.
I like to go get, dinner at different places, and sometimes I'll catch a Temur Energy player just like
in the corner of Denny's.
Like a Denny's, or
you'll be recording a Denny's fight.
Yeah, I'll be over there trying to catch a Denny's fight at like 2 a.m, and I'll see a Temur Energy player overeating what I like to call a sad stack.
Yeah, it's a sad stack.
A sad stack of pancakes.
Right.
which you'll see they'll get choked up and it'll look like they're about to cry. And what I do is I crawl
Army style
on the floor with a teaspoon. And then I get ready.
I don't know why you hold it between your thumb and your pinky.
But I do. And I catch their salty tears. And I drink them.
As we move into our first main phase. Guys, we had the pre-release last weekend. That was a lot of fun. Jake and I played Two-Headed Giant. If you didn't catch our Two-Headed Giant vlog, make sure you do. I'll put the link at the end of this video so that you can pop over there and check it out. We had one game where we went down to 1 life. Our opponents were at 32, and we were at 1, and we pulled it out. It was crazy.
We got there, man.
Yeah, it was insane.
In one turn, we took them from 30 to Zippo.
Yeah, make sure you go check out that video to see that game. Overall, what was your impression or feeling of Rivals of Ixalan Limited?
Okay, well, obviously, I haven't drafted it yet.
Right.
It's
all
not
we've
out.
done is a Two-Headed Giant sealed. Which is a sealed, but it is different than a sealed. You're going to take different cards into effect. Like we had that 2 black, 1 other. Each opponent discards 2 cards. Probably not playable in a regular sealed or draft.
No.
But in Two-Headed Giant, one of the best cards you can
get. It ends up being a 4-for-1. The card is Arterial Flow.
It's insanity. It's insanity
it's,
in Two-Headed Giant.
It's 2 black, 1 other. Each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire,
right,
each opponent
gets
loses 2 life.
Right.
And you gain 2 life.
Yeah.
So this card is absolutely bonkers. If you find yourself with an opportunity to do a Two-Headed Giant sealed of Rivals, I suggest you play around this card. This card
and
is
really
so fun.
really give a deep look to any card that says each opponent.
Yeah,
because
I mean, obviously
they're going to be 2-for-1s at least.
The red-black Planeswalker Pirate Minotaur
Angrath,
his +1, I believe, is each opponent discards a card.
Yeah.
So very, very, very cool to look out for each opponent. But as far as, I had a good time.
Yeah, me too. It seems very fun. It seems very playable.
Mm-hmm.
Every bear does something. Don't play a regular bear, and what I mean by that is a 2-mana 2/2. There are bears that do stuff running rampant over the Isle of Ixalan.
The one guy isn't a bear because he's not a 2/2, but the 1 black, 1 other vampire that comes in and you draw a card, lose a life.
Yes.
God, cards like these are amazing because they can trip themselves. They present a little body out there that's going to, block something big.
Yep.
There's a lot of value there. And I also like Dinosaur Hunter. The little black
if it deals damage to a dinosaur, kill it.
Yeah, if it deals damage to a dinosaur, it has Death Touch for dinos.
I will say that I think for the most part, this limited is going to become the best decks are either big healthy dinos that trample over your opponent.
That have a good early game and can support and get you there to those final dudes.
If you've got the Thunderbird Migration, if you've got the Tillinali's Diviner, the 0/3 that explores. If you've got
the Lightning Strike and the Bombardment to help get you to the late game.
Yeah. Any of the 2 guys that make dinosaurs cost less. Any of these cards, if you've got that, you're going to be playing what I would think is one of the best decks up there. If you look again at our vlog video from the Two-Headed Giant, I was basically playing that deck, and I tell you, man, it's steamrolled. I never was off mana. I didn't get mana screwed all game.
Yeah.
All night. I mean, the entire match.
I actually think, now that I'm looking at both sides,
great deck.
There's a lot of potential for like a go wide here.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The other 2 are go wide or fly over.
Yeah, because you have Bloodstained Paladin, which is a common.
Yeah.
For 4, you bring in a 3/2 that brings in a 1/1 with lifelink.
And then you've got cards like Legion Conquistador that searches up the other vampires.
You have that, but then you also have the dinosaur that brings in a 3/3 with trample.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a 3/3 with trample itself.
We covered that last week.
We
covered that last week as one of our favorite limited uncommons. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I had that card in my deck. It was awesome.
You're never upset to get 2 bodies on the field for 5 mana.
And lots of times I had the guys that were like dinosaurs cost 1 less, dinosaurs cost 2 less. And so I'd be playing that guy for like 3 mana and get 2 trampling 3/3s, and opponents' eyes are just getting wide.
They're just like, well, that's a.
So I would say healthy dinosaurs. I would say go wide with vampires, and I would say fly over with pirates.
Yeah.
Before we move on, we already talked about the bannings a little bit, which means that Standard seemingly is wide open until somebody else figures out the energy deck that's going to break it and Wizards go, blah, all right, we banned Kaladesh block. We might have some new decks pop up. Jake, is there anything cool that you're looking to build around? Any cool deck you've seen that you kind of want to explore?
Well, God, I normally watch a lot of the events on Twitch, and I've had just such a bad taste in my mouth watching every Standard event recently. I'm so happy that Temur isn't. And people are saying, it might get, the 8 spots might get replaced with 4 Voltaic Brawler and 4 Champion of Wits. There's no telling. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe we do see a new Temur variant. I don't think it's going to be as oppressive.
Right.
But I do, I actually like Siegehorn Ceratops. I think it's a card that's really cheap right now. That in a 2 slot, if you build around it well and you protect it, I think that this card can get huge.
Yeah, I could definitely see this working in like a Naya show with a lot of enrage triggers, a lot of damage your creatures, ping them for 1 kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. And, the way it works with Walking Ballista, it's just like, you can make it big pretty quick.
Yeah, if you make it kind of a black, white, green.
Yeah, if you were to make it like a Junk or an Abzan build and just like, there's a lot of
Winding Constrictor in there. That would be tight.
And the Pounce, the one card that it costs 2 less if it's a dinosaur and it's just put a 1/1 counter on this creature and it fights something.
Oh yeah.
So there's really cool ways, like cool combat tricks with also Blossoming Defense and different ways to protect this card and also make it big really quick. I think it could be really, really cool.
I'm looking at blue-black favorable wins deck. It's a pirate tribal. Really only cares about pirates for the counterspell that is 1 blue, 1 other if you control a pirate and it's counter target spell unless they pay 4.
Yes.
And
you also get Kitesail Freebooter,
that is the addition that honestly
powerhouse.
For me it makes it crazy. This deck I first saw on Haruya Wayfinder's list of decks when Ixalan came out, I think. And he had the Obstructionist from Amonkhet block, and he had a couple of others. But now there's enough pirate support, and there's enough baby flyers in the deck, or available, that could go in the deck, that I think it kind of pushes it over the edge and makes it very interesting to play. There's the Flash Flying. You had this guy in our limited pool. Flash Flying Pirate Siren thing that if you control a pirate, when it comes into play, you get to tap 2
So this would be at the top
down.
of your curve.
Oh yeah, that's the top of the curve. But I do run a 4 of that because it's also kind of the finisher in the deck.
Yeah.
So I flash that in, the end of turn on their turn, and tap down anything that can block flyers. And then kind of, drop favorable winds and swing with team. All I really got to do is get 5 1/1s in the air and then drop that, and I'll be swinging in for 10 damage.
I feel like when you have bodies with such powerful abilities attached to them, like Siren Storm Tamer.
Siren Storm Tamer's a 4 of.
And then Kitesail Freebooter, which comes in with a duress attached to it.
4 of.
It's just like...
Also,
Freebooter's so strong.
Kitesail Marauder is the one that makes their creature 0/1 with no abilities.
Warkite Marauder.
Warkite Marauder, that's what it is. Makes them a 0/1 with no abilities. That's a 4 of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one I was talking about that got added this set. That kind of pushes the deck over the edge because it allows you to deal with, like, I don't know, Scarab God, anything that, is going to be a huge problem. Kind of splash.
I think Warkite Marauder is a card that people are going to wake up to, and I think this card is really going to blow up. Kind of because, once you get Warkite Marauder out there, it really, like, until they answer it, every time it attacks, it's going to be answering a threat.
Yeah, I've been messing around with Vance's Blasting Cannons kind of Is-It deck. Run that main decks Magma Sprays just to play with Warkite Marauder. So it turns their Scarab God into a 0/1. Ace the Scarab God.
And it's exiled.
Goodbye. Yeah. And it's gone. It didn't have the ability that lets it go to your hand. It's exiled. Peace. See you later, Scaraby.
Yep.
So it could be cool. Let us know in the comments below, again, your ideas for Standard. I really think the meta is open right now and is a brewer's paradise. I'm hoping it just doesn't turn into
it's not just the first
Energy
tournament
V2.
and there's just
Right.
like, dude, I figured out my energy deck. And
We've got some SCG events in between now and then, but we do have the next standard GP isn't until the end of February.
Mm-hmm.
So, and between now and then it's limited. So, and then there's Pro Tour Modern, so we won't even get to see anything at that. But it's an interesting time to be a brewer, and we will see how it all shakes out.
And it may be like a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, they'll shake it out. Shake it out.
Right. Precisely.
But standard.
Yes.
As we move into our attack step, we have something to complain about this week in the attack step.
Yes. Well, it's something that is likely affected by Hasbro being in charge, I would imagine.
Guys, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when we talk about this anymore, but the friggin' cardboard quality is still an issue. We were comparing side-by-side identical cards at the pre-release last weekend. This one would be too light. This one would be like strangely bolded and everything. The black ink was just way too much. And then this one would be fine. I can't speak to warping because, you know, it was only 1 or 2 days, and thank goodness the cards didn't start warping, I guess, in the sleeves while we were playing. But the quality of the printing is still just not acceptable. And this is a meme right now. It's going around. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, the freaking cardboard quality. But
well,
it's
when you're
real and it's still
spending
here,
your
it's
hard-earned dollars,
Right.
you want to at least get good cardboard.
Right, exactly.
It's like if you're shipping something, are you going to want to ship it in the cardboard box that, like, if you lean on it the wrong way, it gets crunched? Or the cardboard box where it's like, man, this is some sturdy cardboard.
Right, exactly.
You want the sturdy cardboard.
It's a problem. I don't know when it's going to be fixed. It's going to be very disappointing if we get to Dominaria, which is arguably going to be the most hyped set in years.
Yeah, you said they're bringing back masterpieces.
Right, there'll be masterpieces. I'm sure they'll have some surprises since it's back to, you know, the biggest story plane for the early run of the game. And, you know, there'll be some surprises. There'll be some throwbacks. It's a 25th anniversary year. They're putting that little friggin' symbol on everything. And so hopefully by then it's figured out, man. I've played since Invasion Block when we were on Dominaria. And there was a time where I stopped and then got back into it around Zendikar. But the original Zendikar.
OG, yeah.
But I don't ever remember this being a problem. It's ridiculous. It's gotten to a ridiculous level.
Yeah, and I know I said this in the beginning, but I wonder if this has to do with Hasbro being like,
Right.
Look, we're going to cut costs anywhere we can.
Yeah.
People are going to buy it anyway.
It's a company. They want to make money. I'm not going to fault a company for
Right.
wanting to make money.
Right,
But it can't be at the expense of your consumer.
Let's just get into this very briefly. I know we
Right.
didn't plan for this, but
No.
you have 9 cards banned in the last 12 months, which is
in and of
insane.
itself is
It has a
insane.
lot to say about the R&D going on and just like maybe they're being pressured to create too much. They're not having enough time to review because now they're pumping out more product than they have
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
And then also you have Hasbro being like, well, look, if we cut costs on cardboard quality, we save money here, and, you know, people aren't complaining about it. We don't ever comment on it, so there won't be any kind of class action lawsuit.
Yeah, you can't comment
for
on it 'cause of
defective
legals.
product.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just think this kind of speaks to, you know, Wizards being, you know, controlled by a much larger entity that maybe cares less about the consumer and cares more about money.
The doll hairs.
The doll hairs.
Well, what I do know is they've got to get it figured out. And honestly, I would hope that it's in time for Dominaria, because that's going to be kind of a flagship set for them and could, you know, kind of usher in a new era of standard play with the whole block rotation difference thing that's going to be happening with the cardboard quality. And, you know, hopefully they've got it figured out by then.
So, as we move into main phase 2, dude, don't you have to get going?
Yeah, I gotta run. I got a DMV appointment, guys. We do have a special guest lined up. Should be here any minute. So, you can handle it without me?
Yeah, we're just going to talk about some stuff. I'll greet him and I'll get the ball rolling, man.
Perfect. I will catch you guys later. I'm hoping to be back by the end step, so I'll hurry.
Sure.
I'll hurry. I'll be back.
Take your time, man.
Thank you.
All right, later. We have this guy, Joel set this up. A gentleman who is a pro. He's waiting in the wings. I'm going to give him an introduction, but he needs no introduction, although, no offense, I do not know who he is. This man's name is Tim Nieder. Tim Nieder. Let's just go right into it. Tim, come on in, man. All right. Hi, Tim. I am Jake with Jake and Joel Are Magic. I know you spoke to Joel on the phone, but I will be...
It's an excellent pleasure to meet you, Jake.
That was a great handshake you have there, Tim. So why don't you give me a little bit of background about yourself?
My name is Tim. I'm a 6-time All-Pro MTG player, and I'm having the worst year ever. First, Logan Paul makes fun of a dead person. Then Hawaii gets hit by a missile or something. And now, the worst thing of all.
All right, I'll bite. What's the worst thing?
You didn't hear. Temur Energy's been banned. My favorite deck to play has been banned. My favorite thing was to show up to the tournament, and all of my friends would go, "Which cards do you have in your Temur Energy deck?" And I'd go, "Ha ha ha, the same ones that are in your Temur Energy deck, dude."
I'm sure that was a great meme that you all got to experience together.
What's a meme?
Don't worry about it. Well, you know, I think the banning is kind of a good thing, right? I mean, this is going to make the format a little bit more open.
A good thing for who? People who want to try things, people who want to be different. Ugh.
All right, how about, I got a question for you. How did you feel when you woke up on January 15th, 2018, and you booted up your little pewter?
I felt the same as any morning. I woke up and I had my traditional breakfast of cold spaghetti noodles, plain only butter. And then I went for a 20-meter run.
You went on a 20-meter run?
Yes. And then I sat down and I booted up my little pewter.
And what did you find when you booted up your little pewter?
That my life had come to an end.
Well, that's a little bit dramatic. What?
It was dramatic. It was a dramatic moment for me.
I don't know. I just find it. Look, Tim, and I know you've got a great career. I'm sure you know about a ton of other different decks. There's got to be,
What, like dinosaurs? Who wants to play with big lizards?
Dinosaurs they're pretty cool. Who doesn't like Jurassic Park?
Me.
All right, fair enough. Are you the guy who only plays Temur Energy? Like, what are you doing? Like, do you play anything else casually?
The first thing I do after my 20-meter run, before I boot up my little pewter, is I do some salutations to the sun, what I call attuning with the aether.
Maybe it'll find its way into a different format.
I attune with the aether.
Look, this is kind of off topic, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you ever go to that one Denny's in North Hollywood? It's at Lancashire and Oxnard over there. Do you know that one?
Yes, I'm smiling because I have such fond memories of that Denny's. I like to go there. I have I have a hobby that not many people know about. This is kind of a hot take for your little channel.
Sure.
I like to film Denny's fights.
Do you ever get the little stack of pancakes over there?
Normally I call it my splendid stack, but lately I've been calling it my sad stack.
Sad stack.
How did you know?
Look, I think I drank your salty tears.
That was you?
Yeah.
You stole my power?
Look, I don't want to ruin the interview, but yeah, I drank your salty tears because I knew that you played Temur Energy, and it's like a weird ritualistic thing for me. I like to drink the salty tears.
It's not that weird. It's kind of normal. Me and the Temur boys, as I used to call it, boys with a Z. We used to...
Like B-O-I-Z? B-O-I-Z?
Yes, it's the Temur boys.
Hmm.
We used to always, at the tournaments, we would go around and we'd be like, what are you trying to play? And they'd be like, blue-white approach. And we'd be like, Temur Energy, dude.
Yeah.
And then they would cry, and then we would catch their tears and drink them ourselves. We would put them in, like, Arizonas.
Yeah.
We would put them in, like,
vials.
Yeah, we would put them in vials and then mix them with Arizonas after the matches, and we would drink their tears. That's what we thought gave us our power. Now we won't be able to anymore.
Look, Tim Nieder, your deck is gone. The deck will not be the same, but I'm just wondering, is there something else that you're going to be interested in playing?
Yes, I'm working on a brand new deck. No one has ever seen anything the likes of it before.
Cool. What can you give us a little bit of a preview, or are you going to bust it out at an event?
I'll be busting it out at Pro Tour Dominaria. I call it Grixis Energy.
Great. That sounds awesome. Let me ask you this. Tim, have you heard of Modern? The last top 8 Modern tournament had 7 different decks in the top 8. Is that a little intimidating for a player like you to know, like, if you were to play a different format, you may have to play against different decks and maybe not the same deck all the time?
I have a very serious question for you, and I want you to answer me 100% honestly. I don't want you to lie.
Okay. Fire it at me.
What is Modern?
I want everybody to give a big round of applause for Tim here.
Thank you. No applause necessary.
Tim, thank you so much for your time and coming in, and yeah, we'll get one of these going again. It's so good to have a pro player on the channel. This is huge for us, and
it's a pleasure being here. Tell Joel I missed him.
Joel will be in contact with you. I know you and him talk on Twitter all the time.
Yes, I will tweet him.
Yeah, tweet at him. He will get back to you at his convenience. I never get on Twitter, so don't expect to hear from me ever again.
That's fine. As we move to our end step.
Pretty cool. We got to meet a pro today. You weren't here.
Yeah, sorry I had to run away. I had to go to the DMV real fast.
This guy is something else, man. I don't know where you found him.
Yeah, seems like he's got a lot of good information, good head on his shoulders. I think he's handsome.
I think it's funny that he was one of the people that I ran into, and I thought I recognized the guy, but I ran into, and this was someone whose tears I actually drank at some
really?
point, so that was funny.
Yeah, he did seem like a sad fellow. Guys, thanks so much for watching this week. We appreciate your time. We know that it's valuable, and we very much appreciate you spending it with us.
Yep, cannot reiterate enough. So I will reiterate again. Thank you for spending your time with us.
This weekend is GP, let me get this right, Indianapolis. It is a team limited event. Unfortunately, we don't have a standard event this weekend that is officially sanctioned, but we do also this weekend have SCG Dallas, which is team constructed, meaning we're going to see some standard play in a tournament setting. So very much looking forward to watching the coverage of that.
This would be a good moment to kind of get a feel of where people's minds are at.
Yep, and honestly, just so we're not disappointed, we're probably going to see variations on the energy decks. It being so quick after, and this tournament not necessarily being a pro event. It is a open, so anybody can go.
A lot of energy cards that are in the format.
If you happen to be at SCG Dallas this weekend, comment below and let us know what you're seeing standard people play. If people are trying new stuff, I'd love if some pirate or some vampire, some dinosaur decks were showing up. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Also, some decks that use some of the cool cards from Amonkhet block that never got to see if they were good. As Foretold would be tight if somebody could pull that off in standard. The Firebird Invocation, that's actually from Ixalan, I believe.
Yeah.
But that one, I saw decks popping around, but then Temur Energy stomped them down into the ground. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody's trying anything spicy. Other than that, that's going to do it for this week for Jake and Joel Are Magic. Until next time,
I'm tapped out.
I am constantly searching for meaning.